Welcome Home, a podcast for veterans, about veterans by veterans, is a project of Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run.
Good morning. I'm Larry Zoliak, your host, Director of Culinary Services here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And today, as our guest, we have Diane Lunsford, who is the event coordinator here at the Warrior Retreat. So welcome.
Thanks, Larry. It's good to be here.
So today we're going to talk about some of the events that we have throughout the year that are fundraisers and how important they are to raise money to keep the retreat operational. So, Diane, can you tell us what are the main events that we have each year?
Sure. So we kick off the season, the event season, in July this year, on July 15th, with the Vets for Vets car show. It's a Corvette classic that ranges from vintage cars to current day, and then we also opened it up to have exhibitors of classic cars 2 years ago. So, like the muscle cars and things of that nature. It's one of those coveted events that I think a lot of people in the community and beyond the community get very excited to come to because it's very veteran-centric. There's a lot of military personnel. And the whole intent of that is to pay homage, as we often do, to our veterans, our active duty, and just to let them know that our warriors are tantamount to what we do here.
Mm-hmm. And when is that, July?
It's on Saturday, July 15th, and the doors open for visitors at 10 a.m., and the event ends at 2 p.m.
Okay, and if someone is interested in registering to display their car, where would they go to do that?
They would go to our main website, willingwarriors.org, and once you get there, there is a drop-down menu for events. If you drop that down, you'll see Vets for Vets 2023. As soon as you click that link, it will drive you right to the registration site where you can register, you can donate, or you can sponsor. It's very, very intuitive.
And it's not that much money to register your car, I don't think.
No, it's $20 to register a car in advance. It's $25 the day of. And just to that point, Larry, for those people who are interested in exhibiting a vehicle, the registration the day of will open up at 7:30.
Okay, that's Saturday morning.
Yes.
Okay. And last year, I think we had well over 100 cars. Is that right?
We actually had 129 vehicles last year.
Okay. And most of them were Corvettes. It is Corvette show, but we do have some other automobiles that are certainly worth looking at. But the majority of the cars that come are Corvettes, right?
Absolutely.
Good. We also have on site for everybody hot dogs, hamburgers, and then I believe the registrants, when they're exhibiting their cars, they also get a commemorative challenge coin.
Absolutely. And what's really fun, and that's with all of the car club memberships or just the individuals that are exhibiting their vehicles, they look forward to these challenge coins each year, and we're pretty specific in the designs. This year is the 70th anniversary of Corvette, so we have a we have the latest 2024 model that will be showcased on the challenge coins.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's almost a collector's item.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's July. What would be the next one?
So after July, we move into the fall season in September. On September 9th, we will be celebrating our 6th annual Warrior Ride cycling event, which is hosted by Willing Warriors, but it's presented over at the Farm Brewery, which is in Broad Run Farms. And beautiful facility, coveted event. It's gaining momentum more and more each year. Last year we had 298 cyclists. And just to kind of put things into perspective, Larry, to stand up this particular event, we truly rely on our volunteer pool to make it the success and the memorable event that it is each year.
Sure.
We have approximately 100, if not more, volunteers that come to the table that for that event in particular. And it's a fun-filled day, music, great food. Mission Barbecue is going to be serving the food again this year. A lot of wonderful vendors. Micron will be hosting the breakfast.
Okay.
We're excited to announce that Next Point Group is going to be the presenting sponsor again this year.
Wow.
So we have some really nice support that has continued to grow with us and with this event. And this is not a race, so it's not a sanctioned, you must qualify in order to ride in this. This is a day of fun for cycling enthusiasts, and there are 4 different components where riders can jump on the bandwagon and just come out and have some fun. And it's very well received. And as I said, it's grown increasingly each year.
So you don't have to be one of these high endurance kind of ride 100 miles a day people to participate.
You're absolutely correct. But we do get them.
Okay.
No, there's a 13-mile ride, which is an Honor the Flag ride, which is very well received by exactly your question, where it's someone who isn't a die-hard cycling enthusiast, that's probably the ride for them. There's a half metric, which is a little bit more intense, and that's where you start getting into some of those athletes that this might be a good training race for them for a longer ride that they're going to participate in at a later date. The metric, which is, I would say, that's where you're going to get more of your actual cyclists who they travel the country participating in these rides. And we also have the gravel route. The gravel route is very intense, and that's very much so for very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very connected to off-road cycling. It is an off-road type course that they're on. There's a little bit of pavement leading up to it, but you're literally going up Bull Run Mountain.
So that would be your mountain bikers.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And that's 28 miles.
Oh, it's still a good ways.
Yes.
On a mountain. One of the things that I've been to all of the warrior rides, and the thing that I take away the most from it is the volunteers, and that and how well organized and coordinated it is. There are medical people, not only at the start-finish line, but also out at 3 stops along the way. So these stops have volunteers that are giving out water and drinks and pickles. I've learned that pickles are a big hit with riders, as well as medical people there as well. We have ham radio operators all along the route to monitor the flow of the riders. We have support from the NAM Knights, who are a big supporter of ours. They're a local motorcycle club made up primarily of veterans and law enforcement. And they come out and they ride road guard for groups of riders so that cars don't come up on them from behind. They don't tend to crowd the NAM Knights. Nicest guys in the world, but they're just a little scary looking. And I've had people tell me that this was the safest. They felt this is the safest ride out on the road that they've ever participated in. And then we just have all those volunteers checking people in and serving the meals. And it's a tremendous community effort. It really is. I think you said there was over 100 volunteers involved, right?
Absolutely. And to expand on what you were saying too, Larry, is I think it's important to note that with each year that we continue to grow here at the Warrior Retreat, people are starting to recognize, perhaps a couple of years ago, I had no idea you're here. When we start explaining we're with the Warrior Retreat, we're doing this cycling event, now people are sitting up and taking notice. What we've tried to do in the past 2 years, and this being the second year, is to reach out to like-type events and start getting that cross-promotional word out, because they're doing tremendous work too. For example, the Armed Forces cycling event. Mm-hmm. I have a meeting actually later this week with one of the key components that stands that up, and they're very supportive of what we do here. So in kind, we want to recognize what our armed forces do, and to have that cross-pollination going on, I think it bodes more recognition and acknowledgement of why we do what we do.
Sure.
And it's all in support of the whole veteran and active duty and
Right.
all of that whole package.
Okay. Is there a rain date for that event, or is it rain or shine?
No, the Warrior Ride is rain or shine. And then just to back up a little bit, for the Vets for Vets, we do have a rain date because
Yep.
a lot of these guys don't
They're
want
not-
their cars in the rain. And the rain date for the Vets for Vets is August 5th,
Yeah.
but we hope to not have to institute
Yeah,
that.
we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And then in the fall, we have probably our biggest event, which is the gala.
Yes. This year we are celebrating our 8th annual gala, and so excited to be a part of this. Last year was my premier debut as the events coordinator to work with the team. And to your point, again, it's a huge volunteer effort, and the core staff, bar none, they work in insurmountable hours to put together a memorable experience to quote unquote close out the year. So this year, as last year, we are going to be at Lansdowne Resort. We're very excited about that. It's a great venue. It's a convenient venue. It's easily accessible. And we're going to take a little bit of a different approach this year with focusing a little bit more on paying homage to our military and doing a little bit of, I don't want to give away any surprises, but focusing a lot more on the stories of military personnel and what the Warrior Retreat means to them and how it's helped them. So very exciting times to be planning it this year.
And when is this?
This is on November 4th, and it's from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. 5 p.m. is a cocktail hour, dinner services at 6, and then the program, and then just a lot of fellowship and just a lot of meet and greet.
And in previous years, we've had some amazing guest speakers. General John Nicholson comes to mind. And then last year, the amazing 4-star General Carter Ham.
Yes.
We're so fortunate that they would support us and take the time out to come and speak. Do we have a guest speaker for this gala lined up yet?
We are working on that, and we are focusing on that general consensus again, to have someone that is of a higher level with the military decoration, if you will, because who better to speak to our warriors and with our warriors than someone who has experienced a life of service.
So it's a secret for right now. Listeners will have to stay tuned. I'm sure we'll
Yes.
announce more about the gala and who the guest speaker is going to be, and that's exciting. I'm sort of anticipating who it might be, and I don't have a clue. I'm not involved in any of the event gala stuff, so I'll be as surprised as anybody. There are some events that are held for us, but they don't really involve the property here, the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. Like the NAM Knights have a poker run, and the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Club local chapter has a run. And can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, the poker run, so to your point, the NAM Knights are just phenomenal. I think that getting to know them over the past couple of years has been such a treat for me, because they've just shown how committed they are to what we do here, but also ready at the ready to lend a helping hand. So the poker run, we're not doing the poker run here this year because it's so close to Memorial Day, and the NAM Knights are very, very actively involved in a lot of the activities that go on around Memorial Day, specifically with motorcycle enthusiasts. So that we found out soon enough that they wanted to push it to the fall, but our calendar in the fall is a little bit too
Crazy.
exactly to try and put something in there to make it memorable. We're not here to let's see how many events we can pack in a year. We're here to make something that's impactful, memorable, but it's convenient and it's enjoyable for everybody. So what we're really very grateful for our involvement in our relationship with the NAM Knights is they are always at the ready to lend a helping hand at the matter of literally picking up the phone and calling, sending an email. We have a very strong relationship with them, and they're just wonderful. It's a wonderful organization.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find another group of stand-up guys like them. You know, I remember when we had the groundbreaking in December for the Grand Lodge, the PenFed Grand Lodge that will be built. So we had all of the principals and the stakeholders in the new PenFed Grand Lodge out, and they were shoveling dirt. And there were 4 or 5 NAM Knights that were here representing the club to watch and to participate. And I'll never forget, at the end of the ceremony, they came up and they said, look, we have this for you, but we didn't want to take anything away from PenFed and what was going on today. But here is $1,000 worth of $50 giant gift cards to give to $50 card to each family to help them with groceries during their stay. So just a remarkable club and really a great bunch of guys. Also, we have a very close relationship with the Combat Veterans Association Motor Club. I believe they're going to have an event for us that they're sponsoring. It won't be here at the property, but later on in the summer, I think they're having something.
They are, and forgive me, Larry, I am just now getting into the very beginning planning stages of that.
I understand.
But to expand on what you're saying in terms of the combat veterans, that's another group that has been hands down, what can we do for you? How can we help? And they're just a tremendous organization that we are very grateful to have in our family.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, as we wrap up, what would you like listeners to know about what goes on and what it takes to put on an event here at the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run?
It takes a lot, Larry. What I would love the listeners to know is I think the best way to understand and comprehend what Willing Warriors is all about is to take the time to come out and see the property, see what goes on here, take a tour. Faith Lalemo, who is our volunteer coordinator, she's always at the helm taking phone calls. So if you are ever interested in taking a tour, give us a call, and we'd be happy to set some time up for you to come. We don't stand much on presentation, but when we do have guests in house, we prefer not to give tours because we don't want to be disruptive, obviously, to our families who are in the house. Sure.
And you can reach Faith in the office at 571-248-0008. Or if you have any questions about the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run, about the podcast, just reach out to me at podcast@willingwarriors.org. Well, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll be back with another episode soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Larry.
The Welcome Home podcast is brought to you by Willing Warriors, a nonprofit organization serving active duty service members and veterans since 2012. To learn more, please visit our webpage at willingwarriors.org.